I'm Jo, and I want to tell you about a trip I took a couple of years ago to India. I started off in the north, and then I took a train for 50 hours to the southwest. I went to the state of Kerala. This is part of the train journey once I got to the south, when everything was green. It's a beautiful journey, very relaxed. That man was selling tea. The train took me to a town called Varkala, which is down here. The reason I went to Varkala is because there's lots of yoga places and there's amazing surf. And I like to go bodyboarding and to do yoga. You can see along this line here, these are cliffs, and all along the cliffs there are cafes and restaurants, and then the rest of the town is back here. In the mornings, I'd walk along the beach and I'd find piles of these cute little dogs lying down in little holes in the sand. Behind, you can see there's a temple and you can see some of the red of the cliff. I love the colour of the cliffs. They're red because they've got lots of iron in them. When I first arrived, you can only see one here. There were loads of big birds called kites flying around. However, one day, suddenly all the birds disappeared, and at sunset all of these thousands of dragonflies arrived. There's a cultural centre with a theatre where they do performances of a special dance called Katakali. Katakali is a theatre dance that they normally do in temples, and it takes hours. They start at night and they'll finish in the morning. This man, he is a demon. He is a joking demon. And a lot of the theme of the theatre dance is good and evil. I enjoyed it so much that I went to 2 performances. And these guys were so kind as to let us watch them put on all their makeup and their costumes, which took hours. The stories are amazing. They come from the Sanskrit stories of the Ramayana, and they're very, very old. From Varkala, I went to Periyar National Park, which is a place that's famous for having tigers. This is the only tiger that I actually saw, but one of the main reasons I went was because I wanted to go hiking, and it was stunningly beautiful. If you want to go hiking in Periyar Park, you have to wear these ridiculous things, which are called leech socks. You have to put them on inside your boots, tie them up at your knees, and it protects you from leeches. These are the little blood-sucking things that these socks protect you from getting into your shoes. I did actually get one in my shoe, but one is better than hundreds. So, we took a raft across a lake to go for the first part of the walk. We walked across fields and through trees, and we did see a lot of animals. We saw deer and we saw monkeys and all kinds of other little creatures. The only sign we saw that there were any tigers was these footprints in the mud. Inside the national park, there are lots of monkeys, and if we wanted to eat and drink, we had to sit inside this cage. So I took this photograph from inside. The monkeys are outside trying to get in to eat our stuff. From Periyar, I went to Kochi, which is a large port city on the coast with a lot of colonial history. Fort Kochi is a really beautiful place there where you can see some of the famous things in the city. I found a guide who took me around the city on this motorbike. It's a Royal Enfield motorbike called a Bullet, and they're very famous at the moment, and lots of people have them in India. And I drove around the city on the back of this and really enjoyed it. These are the Chinese fishing nets on the shore. It takes a number of fishermen to operate them, and the nets go down into the water and then come back up again. Lots of fish are caught in smaller boats. You can see this fishing boat, and they're brought ashore, and people come and buy them. You can see there are some even smaller boats, just for individual locals who need to make a living by fishing. These trees are called rain trees, and they are other landmarks in Fort Kochi. They are enormous and really beautiful and quite old. There are lots of them dotted around the city. In Fort Kochi, in the past, there were a lot of Jewish people who lived there. Now there's a very small number, but there is still Jewtown, and there's this beautiful, you can't see inside it, sadly. There is a beautiful synagogue. I went inside. It's full of amazing chandeliers and candles. The Jewish population now in Kochi is only a handful, but there are lots of tourists who still come to visit. When you're walking through Jewtown, you can see these beautiful spice markets, and there are lots of other shops selling perfumes and jewelry for all the tourists who visit. Later, I visited a city or a town called Munnar, which is in the hills of Kerala. It's much cooler than on the coast, and it was a real relief to escape from the heat. I wonder if you can guess what all these green parts are. The green around Munnar is all because of this. This is tea, and these are tea plantations. I found them really beautiful, and we went hiking around them with a tour. We were given lots of information about the tea, about the different parts of the tea plants and which leaves are the best. But I'm a coffee drinker, and I can't really remember. All I remember is that the top part of the bush has the best leaves, and that's what you should drink. After the day of hiking, I took this bus back to my hostel through the tea plantations. I was very thankful to have a good bus driver who was slow and relaxed. And I really enjoyed the views. Thank you very much for joining me on my trip to this beautiful corner of India. I'm wishing well to all the lovely friends and kind people who I met there, and I'm looking forward to seeing you another time in another place. Thank you.